Good evening. Her Excellency, Ambassador for Sri Lanka in Germany is Varuni, Her Excellency Varuni, and also my chairman, Chalaka Gajabahu, Sri Lanka Tourism Promotional Bureau, the officials, dignitaries of the head table, friends of media. It honestly gives me great pleasure to be here, the biggest travel fair in the world, and I'm delighted to say 6 months ago, about 7 months ago, Sri Lanka was not in this situation that we could have dreamt of, being here with such a large number. Today, the stall of Sri Lanka looks vibrant, it looks very enthusiastic, the enthusiasm is showing on everybody's faces, there is hope. And Sri Lanka is a resilient nation. We've all gone through many problems in our 75 history of independence. After the independence, we had a 30-year brutal war. We battled it out, we came out of it, and unfortunately last year, we had a political as well as a social unrest in Sri Lanka, which is no secret. But unfortunately, media has over-sensationalized all of what Sri Lanka is going through. It is very unfortunate, and one of the reasons why we have come in numbers to Germany, to our friends, is to say that Sri Lanka is back and it's normal. I remember as a kid, going on the coastal belt, there were many restaurants with German flags. Many people, many German families still reside in Sri Lanka, and we need that back in Sri Lanka. Unfortunately, the social media today is so strong. Everybody becomes a journalist in their own ways, and sometimes countries like Sri Lanka really suffer with negative and misinformation. So therefore, at the outset, the video that we played was just to show you in December how we celebrated. We had massive carnivals, we had parties. Yes, true, we had a political huge issue. When I took over as a tourism minister, even the last tourist was leaving the country. There were travel advisories saying not to come to Sri Lanka. But we were able to change a lot of things inside Sri Lanka by now. We went through a financial crisis. We declared bankruptcy. But now, within a very short time, we slowly recovered. Yesterday, it was one of the best news that we got. Is on March 20th, IMF is granting our first loan to Sri Lanka. Even without that, at the crisis time, we were able to manage the tourists. We were able to give them a special fuel quota for the travel agents. Electricity was supplied because in May, this is what people still keep talking, Sri Lanka had a power crisis, we had a fuel crisis, we had a food crisis. Some people ask us when we go, do you have food to eat in Sri Lanka? Does any one of us look like we are in hunger? We all eat too much. And Sri Lanka isn't having any problem like that. As I said, Sri Lanka is a very hospitable nation. We would not let anybody down, even us, even any human. Sri Lanka is a good example. When COVID happened, there were many people who got stuck, stranded with airports being closed, and there were Sri Lankan communities who kept people, foreigners, for over months and months until the countries opened up. That's Sri Lankans' hospitality. All what we have to give is our heart and our smile, and Sri Lankans have done that, and that's why people have fallen in love with Sri Lanka. It's a beautiful place. I would say it's a miracle if it's on its own. Unfortunately, I blame politicians in the country, which I am one too. We sit on our treasure and have not really marketed our treasure well. What don't we have? Within 2 hours, by road, you can have all 4 seasons. You can have the coldest weather. Coldest in Sri Lanka is not as this cold, but at least it goes up to 8 to 10 degrees, which is quite cold, which is decently cold for you all. And we have the summer, you go to the beach, you go to the surfing, you go to the whale watching, you go for your mountain climbing, hiking. So there are lots of new things Sri Lanka is doing, and one thing we really want to market now is our wellness tourism. We have a very big, strong wellness tourism package, and I've met a lot of Germans who come to Sri Lanka for wellness, the Ayurvedic treatments, as well as the sun, the power, the positive energy, the yoga, the meditation, it has become very famous in Sri Lanka. Traditional was the beach, but Sri Lanka is no longer only the beach. I know lots of people go to Maldives, but Maldives just have the beach. I'm not criticizing, but you stay there for 5 days, you get fed up of it. That's it, you're just in an island, you're caught up in one place. But Sri Lanka, it's not like that. It's what you want, you can get. There is something for everyone. If you're older, if you're younger, if you want to adventure. We just started with the European Union a thing called a Pico Trail. A Pico Trail is where you do a trail right on the mountains for 22 days. So you don't have to finish it within 22 days, but you can take it on stages. You do the first stage for about 4 days, and then you go to the beach, you rest about 5 more 6 days, and then you go back to your country. But when you're on the desk in shivering cold, your memory will be at the Pico Trail to finish the next 4 days. So that's a concept that we have built in Sri Lanka. What we want Sri Lanka is not to be a bucket list, where you tick like you go to Thailand, I've been to Thailand. No, Sri Lanka isn't that. Sri Lanka is something that we want to offer more. Us, our hospitality, our love, our care, and our beautiful country. And what we have, when it comes to religious tourism, we are a very diverse nation. We have all religions, we respect every religion, and we even respect certain beliefs. So Sri Lanka has all that it has to offer, and all I could say, without going further and further and further, is that you need to visit next flight before you leave the ITB. Go make your booking to Sri Lanka, because you would not regret. Then thank you Sri Lankan Airlines for organizing and getting this sorted out. And there are so many connections. Qatar Airways flies 4 times to Sri Lanka. Emirates flies 4 times a day to Sri Lanka. So what we did, as I said, it is a huge challenge when I took over in May, just to get Sri Lanka back on track, just to get tourists to come in. And I'm so glad to say, from June, July, August, September, October, November, we had only 230,000 tourists. But December, January alone, we had more than 340,000 tourists traveling in. This month, the first 6 days, number 1 is one country, number 2 is India, number 3 is Germany, number 4 is United Kingdom, and number 5 is France. So we're looking at the Germans to improve the market. It's just the negativity that surrounds Sri Lanka, saying Sri Lanka has issues. You go to see France. France has today over 1 million people on the road protesting. Protests happen in the world. There is a crisis. There is a recession going around. But trust us, tourism industry and Sri Lankans know the value of tourists and to respect the tourism. We are also launching one of the first kind of its app where you'll be able to have all your security features in it. As you land in Sri Lanka, you just can scan the barcode, and every restaurant, every tuk-tuk you go into, you can just check in on that, so that the real security of a tourist will be looked after. And also, not only that, purchasing tickets to wildlife parks, purchasing tickets into various other institutes could be done through this app. And also it will be in 7 languages, and there will be a 24/7 call center for any tourist in a case of emergency. We've looked into all of these aspects, and as I said, I'm delighted to see Air France flying into Sri Lanka, Swiss Air flying into Sri Lanka, Lufthansa flying into Sri Lanka, and so many other airlines, and we're just opening up to China as well from April, which we will have 6 flights. And I'm sure the numbers of Sri Lanka is going to increase. Just for the media purpose, one of the new countries that we will really work hard with is Japan, because Japan and Sri Lanka has a huge friendship, huge history through Buddhism, and we have a direct flight from Sri Lanka, but we've never ventured into tourism with Japanese. So again, wellness will be one thing that they'll be very interested, as well as the Buddhism, the pilgrim tours. I'm not going to keep it long, I'll keep it for your questions. Sri Lanka dollar has got appreciated the last week, every single day. every single day. The dollar has, the rupee has appreciated. We were paying a humongous rate in the dollar, but it's coming down very fast. And on the 20th, when the IMF comes in, I am quite positive it will come further down by December. Trust me, Sri Lanka will be back to where it was and stronger. So everything that happened to us seems to be like a blessing in disguise, and we are going strong. And it's a beautiful nation that you should visit. And I hope all of you members of the press would be, and we will invite, like Chalaka, my chairman just informed, we will take few of you. We are having 1,000 bloggers, Instagrammers coming into Sri Lanka this year alone. We are sponsoring 1,000 bloggers and Instagrammers to Sri Lanka just to promote, for them to see it, because Instagram, Twitter, TikTok has become very famous among the young and the older generation to find locations. So we're working on it, and we're working on with another company who has the most highest views in the world to do a few videos for Sri Lanka, just to show Sri Lanka is normal. So I urge, plead the media, try, speak to Chalaka. If you're interested to come to Sri Lanka, come, go have a look, go have a visit, experience Sri Lankan hospitality. If you're not sure of what I'm saying, please come, see it, because I say seeing is believing. And once you go to Sri Lanka, that will remain in your heart, and that I'm certain. Thank you very much. Thank you.